Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. We are going to focus on ink drawing for this illustration. And it's an ink drawing that I've already started. I just sort of want to show you the different kind of pens I use and the different kind of quills and the different kind of inks. And then once I start drawing, I'll just sort of speed through it so that you can see this ink drawing come to life fairly quickly. So there's 3 different kinds of pens that I use. And I apologize, I don't know the technical terms for these. I just know what they do and what I use them for. So this nib, you can see it, is sort of just your general, you can make your lines as thick or as thin as you want, or it'll get as thin as the tip here. But the more pressure you put down on it, the more the sides of the tip split apart, so you'll get a thicker line. So I use this most of the time, especially when I'm doing ink illustrations. This one has sort of a little circle at the end of the nib, and that sort of creates, you can only get really one thickness of a line when you use this particular nib, which again has a little sort of dot at the end, whereas this one just comes to like a very, very thin point. And this one I use when I'm lettering, when I want letters to be the exact same width. And then sometimes when I'm creating an image for like a coloring book and you want all those lines to be very uniform, that's what we use this one for. And this one is one I also use for calligraphy, mostly because if you can see here, it sort of splits apart the more pressure you put on it, and it splits apart a little bit farther than this one does. And that could be because this is an old tip and this is a new one. But having the tip sort of at a different angle than your hand just sort of allows for a couple more dramatic, embellishments, I think, when you're doing calligraphy. So that's what I use this one for. But for this illustration here, which is I'm turning a pet into the pet owner, basically. We have a Labradoodle here who is sitting down taking notes because she is a therapist. Like the owner of the dog. She went to the University of Chicago, so there's going to be a little diploma up here. And then, she has some professional clothes on, taking notes, a little bookcase back here. So I'm going to just be heightening every single line in here with ink and adding a lot more detail sort of in the fur of the dog here. So I wanted to talk about 3 different inks. So this is pretty much your standard Winsor & Newton Indian ink. And this is what I use for everything when I'm working in just black and white. And then you have Dr. Martin. These are really great for colors. And you can even get some metallics. This is a gold that I use pretty often. And then this color, this is a Payne's gray. But this, you can find Dr. Martens in like every color imaginable. So those are sort of my recommendations for inks. But for this one, we're just going to be using the black and white, just the black Indian ink. Make sure you have some tissue available, and that'll soak up any excess. You don't want to drop Indian ink on your illustration. So always have something over here to the side that can soak up some excess. Okay, so I'm just going to dive right in. Again, I'm using this sort of regular tip that's pointy at the end. And this is a new nib. I had one of my old ones. These get dirty real quick, and then if the sort of line in between the nib gets a little bit too caked up with ink, you're just going to have to buy a new one because you will not get a decent line out of these. So I try to buy new nibs like once a month, depending on how many pen and ink illustrations I'm doing. Either that or you have to clean them really, really well. I've found that I clean a little bit too aggressively. So when I'm cleaning, I sort of mess up the alignment here in the nib, and which also causes you to not get good lines. So I just buy new ones as often as I can. All right, so we're just gonna dip right in here. I'm gonna dip far enough into the ink here where the little hole in between the sides of the nib sort of gets filled with ink. I'm gonna try not to dip my nib any deeper than that, or else it's just gonna get caked up here. All right, so I'm just gonna go for it, and I'll speed up the video so that you can sort of see this happen a little bit quicker.